Welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Let's talk about effort. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you for joining me today. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about today the concept, the term, the priority of effort. I think we all understand, we have a familiarity with this concept that things require effort. Everything, to some degree or another, requires an effort. This is doubly so and doubly important when you talk about growing your business, when you talk about starting a business, when you talk about employees and staff members, when you talk about improving yourself. And I want to focus, or I guess highlight a little bit the aspect of improving yourself with effort. This has recently in my life become more stark of a reminder and effort in my oldest son. He is now 14. He'll be 15 here in another, I guess almost 2 months or about 2 months. So he's full on into those kind of teenage years where he kind of just doesn't want to do much. And we have recently started a more regimented workout fitness program where we're getting up earlier and going to different classes and doing different things. Like we've done yoga and more like regimented fitness type stuff, which, cardio and weightlifting. And then we've done a cycle class and all these, and like an actual legit like strength weightlifting class. And we're going through all these things, and he just doesn't want to put the effort in. And on one hand, I can absolutely understand because, for his age, he's a fit young man. He's not obese and he's not out of shape or anything. He's definitely more on the beanpole kind of the body type. So he doesn't see any sort of need for or health by any stretch for that, specifically towards fitness. But I've sat down and I've tried to talk to him and I guess not necessarily convince, but at least open his mind and show him the benefits of it, right? Like, hey, as you get older and your body starts to develop, you want to be able to have, muscle mass and get stronger. And especially if you want to go into different fields, whether it be, sports or anything else that requires you to be a little bit more athletic. And one of the things that I had heard, and I'd heard it from somewhere, and I was trying to remember where I heard it from, but I honestly, I don't. And I said to him during this kind of ongoing pep talk that we, for a time, we're having pretty much every morning and it's the same with weightlifting, and it's the same with, dieting. It's the same with self-improvement, of reading, of studying. It's the same with academics. It's the same with, building your team, is that if you never put any effort into it, you'll never get better, right? We all understand this. If we never start by lifting up that 1 5-pound weight to start doing curls with, or as the example, we will never graduate to the 10-pound, to the 20, to the 80, to the 150s, right? Where you're just like, rah. Like everyone starts somewhere, and they started with an understanding of they need to exchange their effort to get the results that they want, to get the outcome and get better in that thing. And this is very difficult, especially for a young teenager to kind of conceptualize and understand, because they really have no basis of, well, yeah, when I was 3, I put this effort in, and by the time I was 5, I was much better at that, right? And maybe you do, if your son or daughter is in, some sort of little league or sports, they understand putting in that effort younger and how much better they are, as at 10 and 12 and 14 and 15 than they were when they were 5 and 6, right? They understand that just by nature of us moving a lot and our nomadic lifestyle throughout both of our kids' younger years, they don't necessarily have that to fall back on because we were never in organized sports or anything like that. And we've done homeschool. So it's hard to go back and see that effort and that reward based off that effort. But as we're getting into this phase and I'm starting to kind of, I guess, push my son a little bit more and expect a little bit more, demand a little bit more of him as far as the responsibility and his output for each day, whether it be schoolwork or helping around the house, is we really need to transition his thinking. And we are the same way. I have the same thing because there are things that I just don't want to do. It's hard to get up at 5:15 in the morning. I have never, ever, ever in my entire life been a morning person. But I understand as my body is getting older and changing and not responding as well or responding more poorly to the food choices that I've been making and the lack of exercise and due to injuries and things of that nature, that I need to start putting in that effort to get the results that I know I'm going to want 6 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now by doing this little bit more healthy lifestyle. And it's easy to use fitness as the example because it is so visceral in nature of, if you work out and dedicate, 6 months to it, your body and your mindset and attitude and metabolism and health is not going to look the same. It's going to look better, like barring injuries and just going insane against it. But we can all see examples of that. And we understand the concepts of, if I put in the effort to not buy the donuts, to not go to McDonald's every night for dinner and cook those healthy meals and be more conscious and aware of nutrition and what my body needs for good fuel versus bad. We understand that if we do those things, we'll get that out. But it does take effort and commitment. But right now, with a lot of people, and myself at times included, and this may be you, this may be somebody on your team, this may be people that you're dealing with, there's this overall lack of desire to put forth that effort, especially when the desired outcome isn't necessarily fast, isn't necessarily immediate, and maybe isn't even guaranteed, right? We could be in that mode of, I can't even, if I build this presentation, if I spend all this time doing this research and putting together this amazing PowerPoint to present to our clients, there's no guarantee that we're going to land that account. There's no guarantee that our revenue is going to be rewarded in the form of new contracts with new clients, right? But it still takes that effort. And that's when you have to step back and really realize that, okay, is this effort, am I putting in just for right now, for this immediate goal, or is it going to some sort of larger picture? And that's really where the crux of the issue comes into in a business sense, is not everything that we choose to put our effort into, to dedicate and commit to, has that immediate consequences for the positive. And sometimes it may have immediate negative consequences, right? You could, if you put that effort into giving up alcohol, your body's going to detox and you're going to have some negative consequences of that. But you go through that process for the long-term benefits, for the promise of what's on the other end as you get through this stage and understand that process and commit to that. But overall, and it's easy to see because we're a society that has so much at our fingertips. We have so much access and easy access to a plethora of vices, a plethora of pleasures, a plethora of pretty much everything, that a lot of times the effort is missing. Like I would argue through most schools, public schools, you could just show up and graduate, right? That you can, that's why we have such a literacy problem. That's why there are many school districts that their high school graduates are reading at a 4th grade level, because all they had to do was show up and they got moved along the process. And we're not blaming anything or here to discuss, why that is. It's just that is some of the facts of our society, and certainly in different pockets of our society. But we've gotten to a stage where we rarely have to, certainly exceptions, have to work hard for a lot of things, right? You want to see a movie? Boom, it's on your TV, Netflix or Amazon or HBO Max or a theater, a block away from you. You've got Uber Eats, food and everything is just right at our fingertips. And it's taken away a lot of this concept of work and effort and sacrifice in order to achieve and get these things. And I wanted to really encourage you, as you're looking at your team, what are some areas that you as the leader, you as the business owner, as the manager, supervisor, department head, have removed some of those barriers, right? Thinking that it's a good thing, removing obstacles, removing barriers is a lot of times a very good thing. But what are the 3rd and 4th and maybe 5th and 6th order effects of that is, as it becomes easier for people to do things, they become less incentivized or less satisfied with the outcome of doing that thing. Because there is a degree of satisfaction, and Mike Rowe has created an entire movement on this, a degree of satisfaction of work, right? And work implies effort. It implies energy expenditure. It implies, some sort of gaining of skill and experience. And as we remove that and our degree of effort required to obtain the things we want lessens, then our overall, I think, in my opinion, satisfaction with that outcome lessens equivocably. I think I threw an extra B in there. Does that make sense? Am I totally off my rocker in that a little bit? Because it's easy to sit back and observe our society stereotypically and as a whole has gotten into this mode of, well, if it's too difficult, it's not worth doing. And that's just not the case. But really only you can decide what is worth doing for you. What is your organizational culture? What do you have things that are worth doing in order to get the things you want? Whether that be new clients or, all those types of different things that we can easily think of. But as you're thinking through this for you, how is it that you're lacking in effort and maybe contradictorily, man, my English is not working so well tonight, but maybe in contrary to that is you're expecting some grand finale or some grand result minus the effort, right? We fall into that. I fall into that, like expecting that, this amazing client's going to land by me making one phone call or something of that nature. And that's just generally not how things work, even though we're built around a society that loves lotteries and things of that nature. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on effort. Think about that in your workplace. Think about in your life, how you yourself as the leader are maybe ignoring the effort required to get the results that you want and what effort is needed for those things and how you can impart that to your people. Cool? All right, everybody. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you for spending your time with me. I do appreciate it. Please make sure and share so we can kind of get this channel growing and this podcast growing and help as many people and small businesses as we can. I appreciate your time. Have a fantastic afternoon, no matter where you're at in the world. Bye.